Part 33. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 321. I got your phone back from Kuruzawa and the others before. Then they knew nothing about my going to Ryuan, Oreki said. In other words, the purpose of protecting Ryuan is Kuruzawa. I really don't want Kuruzawa to get into trouble, and I don't want her to know that she is being targeted. She doesn't have enough confidence. So I'm worried that she might think she's troubling me, Oreki said. So, I owe you a favor. Profound. That's it? It seems that the good impression has worked. But I will not be responsible for Ryuan's actions, Oreki said. He took the wrong path himself. Well, that's true. Hiri really had nothing to say about this. Because what Long Yuan did was illegal. So, I owe you a favor for this incident, Oreki-san said. If you want points. No, Hiri quickly stopped. Being able to get a favor from Oreki-san is already very profitable for her. Although points are important, Hiri-san doesn't want to just use them to buy out this favor. But, she said, next semester, because of Ryuan's resignation, my class may face collapse. That means you are going to take a new route, Oreki said. It seems you understand. Hiri nodded. If it's Ryuan, then he probably wants to get both points and class evaluation points. And if it were me, I would just look at the points first. After all. Hiri paused. Then he continued. After all, I know very well that there is absolutely no chance of winning against Oreki-san's Class A. So, the most beneficial thing for us at this time is to save some money, and then when we graduate in the future, it will be a little comforting. So if Oreki-san has the authority to recommend or decide others in the future, Shiina-san said, then can you give me a position as the administrator of the National Library? Is your goal to work in the library? Oreki asked. Yeah, Hiri nodded. I like the atmosphere of the library. But if you can't graduate from Class A, then it will probably be difficult for you to achieve your dreams just by relying on your own words. Oreki-san. If I could decide the future, I would give you a chance. Then thank you, Oreki-san. Hiri thanked him immediately. Anyway, they were talking nice words now, so neither of them took it seriously. After all, we came to the library. So Oreki-san did not waste this time. After seeing Hiri-san reading a book, he also borrowed the book Genius. Then he discovered that his sister had deceived him. The book Genius tells the life experience of a painter. But the plot is also very complicated. It tells the story of a painter's growth history, and then he does whatever it takes to achieve his career. At the same time, he marries an older woman to become his wife for the sake of his career. But afterwards he liked his sister-in-law. Not only my sister-in-law, I also liked classmates, models, and young girls when I was young. Then, towards the end, he seduces the young lady to elope with him. But in the end, he realized that he could not continue. Generally speaking, it is a matter of the scumbag finally returning to his family as a prodigal son. But unfortunately, his wife also died in childbirth. So, after reading it, I will indeed have mixed feelings. And what does his sister want to do by letting him read this kind of book? So that he doesn't have to be a scumbag. And in the corner, the boy who sat down and read at the D bookshelf looked up at this time. This is no ordinary boy, he is Ayanokaji Kiyotaka from Class C. He was born in a white house, which is different from the training high school and is a more unique institution. Trained in the White Room after birth. It is the highest masterpiece inside. However, as a supreme masterpiece, he wanted to pursue freedom. And there is no life of one's own. He's just that man's tool. But he escaped a year ago with the help of his housekeeper Matsuo, and then recommended this school. This school is a government institution, and at the same time it is a completely different sphere of influence from that man. In the end, the man couldn't completely capture him. But he knew it. That man's influence is still very strong, so even this school will eventually be disturbed by him. And Ayanokaji is quite interested in books. I read all kinds of books. Because for him, he has the best configuration trained by Baifang, so even if he just reads a book, he can learn a lot of things, and then enrich himself and become stronger. These are meaningless things, but becoming stronger is his own action. It can basically be confirmed that since the man himself cannot come in and intervene forcibly, he can still arrange for others to come in. This can be through new students or staff. Therefore, all Ayanokaji can do is improve himself and become stronger. Some time ago, he noticed Oreki Houtarou. Oreki Houtarou has points and strength. Therefore, if he can get assistance from the other party, he may be able to continue to stay in this school. Because he had discovered that the man had already begun to intervene. This time, individual scores will not be announced for the paired exam. The school will uniformly distribute students' respective scores to individuals. This move is slightly more troublesome. The unified sending of information to students' mobile phones is not unheard of, and it happens during the exams for preferential recipients. Information will be sent whether you are selected as a preferential treatment recipient. Then the exam results are released. But editing information at that level is not complicated and is easy to do. However, this time the scores for each subject were sent one by one, and the class teacher was asked to send them separately. Heavy workload. But this time the matching test is actually not difficult. Classes communicate with each other, and the assessment is the trade-off between classes. So why bother the teacher? Or are you trying to hide something? And he has already seen his results. In the paired examination, 2 people are required to pair up, and then their total score in a single subject cannot be less than 60 points, and at the same time, their total score in all 8 subjects cannot be less than 700 points. In other words, their combined score for each subject is 88 points. The scores for Ayanokaji Kiyotaka's 8 subjects are all the same. All scored 88 points. Then he obtained the information about the students he was paired with from Hirata. The opponent's scores were 0 in all subjects. That is to say, although that man couldn't come into the school himself, he had arranged for someone to come in. Then he quickly bought the students who were matched with him in the class. And the students in the class are really unreliable. But that man wants him to drop out of school, so I'm afraid there will be another exam that binds students in a class. Then pull his back legs. Ayanokaji thought. And now, it can be regarded as a bargaining chip that Houtarou Oreki may want. He didn't think he could escape that man's control for the rest of his life, but he still needed the freedom of high school. So, you are also willing to pay some price. In this way. That night Oreki-san contacted Horikita-san again. Then I found out that Horikita-san was easy to handle. After saying that kissing her was over, she agreed to shake hands with him every day. Do you really need this kind of contact? But the honest Horikita-san also expressed dissatisfaction. I think you can put some distance between you and Kushida. That's also a good thing. Because, although it is not difficult to shake hands with Oreki-san, it does make her shake. Especially, after being kissed by him yesterday, I suddenly realized that Oreki-san is a boy and of the opposite sex. Then I have been doing things that only couples would do with people of the opposite sex, which is very strange. But she also knew that Kushida-san was a bitch. And Oreki-san doesn't have much resistance to girls. So it is easy to be conquered by Kushida. So if she wants Oreki-san not to be overtaken by Kushida, she can only strengthen Oreki-san's ability to resist girls. Don't let him be deceived by Kushida-san so easily. Kushida's words. Oreki-san paused. I have other plans. Any other arrangements? Horikita-san and Kushida became friends, but were also immediately betrayed. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 322. So her trust in Kushida is zero. But Kushida also had to openly support her in the class because he formed an alliance with Ryuan to frame her. This is actually a good thing for Horikita. Because she is not good at socializing with people, looking at it this way, having Kushida around might actually be a good thing. She probably has the literary girl temperament of Hiri-san, and she also reads books. And Oreki-san also began to fully enjoy the vacation. I borrowed a lot of books during this summer vacation, from Beautiful Friends Insulted and Violated David Copperfield Resurrection to The Red and the Black The Count of Monte Cristo A Tale of Two Cities and more to O. Henry's novels and so on. But recently, I have noticed that Sakayanagi-san's behavior is quite unique. That is, she and Ichino's Hanami can often be seen acting together in school. The two acted together. So are we becoming friends? And this kind of thing might be normal for Kushida-san. But this is Sakayanagi Arisu. Then Oreki-san was petting his cat Hate while consulting Sakayanagi-san. Ichino-san. I never considered her a friend. It's just because someone told me some interesting news about Ichino's. So let's get in touch. Profound. So you actually want to attack Ichino's. It seems that everyone has their own goals and hopes to come next semester. In this way. October 1st. The new semester begins. Chapter 126. The daily routine is over, and a new exam begins. This time, you will test your true skills. October 1st. Oreki-san returned to class. And yesterday, Oreki-san went back home. Considering the issue of superpowers, he did not go on vacation at home, only to find that his sister came back once, but she went directly to travel. What a free man. But Oreki-san also saw the gift she left behind. After all, she also knew that she was in a full boarding system at Yuchin High School. But he still left the note and birthday gift. The gift was a cowboy hat that she brought back from her trip. Oreki-san put on his hat and stood in front of the mirror for a while. I always feel like it doesn't match well. But since it was a gift from his sister, he still kept it. Then, knowing that his sister was not at home, he stayed at home again and took a deep sleep. Oreki-san seems to have not woken up yet. And this morning we arrived at school. Sitting in his seat. Students in class are very realistic. When Oreki arrived in the classroom, he found that the table had been wiped down. So very clean. The person he was talking to now was the girl sitting next to him. Class is divided into three factions, the stable Katsuragi faction, the neutral Oreki faction, and the offensive Itayanagi faction. Next to him was the leader of the Banliu sect, the little princess Banliu. Sakayanagi Arisu. Today, Sakayanagi-san is wearing white socks. A section of snow white calf was exposed. It looks a little fresh. Sakayanagi-san has been changing her clothes in the past month. To be specific, from suspenders to pantyhose, from stockings to calf socks, and short socks. From black silk to white silk, to red silk, and finally settled on white silk. Although a cute girl looks good in anything she wears, he also thinks that white stockings look best on her. Like Kushida-san, black stockings are suitable. As for Hui, you can try red silk. Horikita-san, she has always been wearing pantyhose and has not changed. As for Ichino-san, although all she saw were white socks, Oreki-san felt that if she put on white knee-high socks, it would be quite tempting. For example, full support, or something. Found myself thinking about strange things. Oreki-san quickly replied to Sakayanagi Yuzu. Maybe I changed the bed, so I was a little uncomfortable sleeping. In fact, I returned to the familiar big bed at home and felt very comfortable. So I stayed in bed. Oh. However, Sakayanagi-san didn't know why. After all, from that day on, she didn't understand what staying in bed meant. Only. But now students are back in the classroom, which also means the arrival of the new semester, Sakayanagi Yuzu said. Yes. The current date is October 1st. The holidays at Yuchin High School are over, and all students are back in the classroom. Because it was the first, at 7 o'clock, everyone's student ID cards received private points from the school on time. What Oreki-san obtained was 3 pieces of transfer information. 205,100 private points have been credited to your account, and the transfer party is XF10001. 1 million private points have been credited to your account. The transfer party is unknown. Note, monthly guarantee. 1 million private points have been credited to your account, and the transfer was made to Hirishiana. The first and second points are already very familiar, but the third point is a point transferred after Ryuuin's classes were concentrated. During the sports festival, Ryuuin's class violated regulations and was reported by Oreki's classmate. In order to prevent the punishment of expulsion, Ryuuin's class was willing to pay 10 million points to settle the matter. Their class didn't have that much money at the time, so they issued an IOU. And now there is still 1 million left to pay off. It turned out that Hiri transferred the money the last time. So it means that, as Hiri said, Ryuuin of Ryuuin's class resigned from the position of class representative. It's ruined. Then Hiri takes the stage. In other words, she will only move in the direction of the points. What class A needs to pay attention to this semester is Class D, Oreki said after thinking about it. He is also a student of Class A, so it is worthwhile to contribute to his class. This reminded Sakayanagi-san. Students in Class D will change their strategies next semester. The class evaluation scores are no longer important to them, so they care more about personal points, Oreki said. This is an evaluation based on collecting Hiri-san's comments and then inferring her actions. Losing Ryuuin to Hiri's class would be like cutting off an arm. Students will be chaotic. Hiri definitely can't be suppressed, after all, she has no violent elements at all. However, it is also very likely that she will first obtain some points to protect the student life of the class. Don't use violence, then soften your classmates. The next step is to exhaust all plans, pass the school's special examination, and do something to sell points. The purpose is to quickly gather points. Then wait for graduation and school to convert it into cash. You can make money to graduate, which can be regarded as a successful high school life. And since the purpose is to make money, Oreki-san has experience, so it can be confirmed that as long as it is to make money, then their methods are very contemptible. In other words, does Ryuuin want to do anything else? And Katsuragi-san on Sakayanaga's right said. But the information I received is that he doesn't leave the dormitory most of the time. And when he leaves the dormitory in the past few days, he looks quite indifferent. Oreki-san. Sakayanagi Arisu. Katsuragi-san suddenly realized that he seemed to have entered a terrible atmosphere by mistake. So he quickly sat back in his seat. And this time, you are all here. The homeroom teacher, Mr. Majima, came to the door of the classroom. First of all, I'm glad everyone had a good holiday. Then, it's like the personal points you receive. You won the matching exam at the end of last semester. Then, Teacher Mashima quickly wrote down the evaluation scores of the 4 classes at the beginning of the new semester on the blackboard and the differences. Oreki-san's first-year class A has a score of 2051. Ichino's first-year class B has a score of 920. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 323. Horikita-san's first year Class C has a score of 530. Long Yuan's first grade Class D has a score of 520. So, Katsuragi-san, who had felt that he had strayed into the atmosphere before, said, "The announcement of the special examination that will be held on the first of every month, is it today too?" "Yes." Teacher Mashima glanced at Katsuragi-san and said, "In this school, special exams are held every month. I hope you can get used to it." Then, Teacher Mashima paused and explained the rules. The first exam of the new semester did not have much fluctuation. The assessment content is the course content taught in the next month. There are 5 subjects in total: physics, mathematics, English, chemistry, biology. Assessment rewards are based on the class average score. If your class average score is 80 plus or above, you can get a class evaluation score reward of up to 100 points. If your class average score is 60 plus or above, you can get a 50-point class evaluation score reward. If you fail the exam, you will be expelled from school. At the same time, no class evaluation points will be awarded. At the same time, the textbook content of this assessment class must be the newly issued content to you, Teacher Mashima added. And in this case, that's clear. Oreki-san rested his chin on his left hand. A simple analysis: in this school's special examination, some of the written examination papers can be purchased. But now the textbooks Oreki-san and the others have received are new versions. It was even put into use just this year. In other words, the idea of buying past papers is no longer applicable. At the same time, the test points of the exam also rely on the planning of your own teacher. That is to say, this time the exam is a hard test. You have to rely on the efforts of the students themselves. The first written test for freshmen after admission is to test old questions. Students are told to think flexibly and be diplomatic. But now, there are no old papers to buy, and students are not asking each other questions, and then want to tell the students, although the rules of this school are very unique, you also need to have a certain level of strength. Mere speculation is useless. And this exam shouldn't be a problem for us in Class A, Katsuragi-san said. Even Kamuro-san, who attends classes at Kojinji Temple, feels reassured by this. This is the calmness of Class A students with strong hardware facilities. Then I thought about getting the reward of a class evaluation score of up to 100 points. However, it is a devil for other classes. First grade Class B is here. The content of the first month of the exam. In Ichino's class, the students heard the class teacher Hoshinomi Yachie's description of the exam rules. As before, the exam rules will be announced on the 1st, and the exam will be held at the end of the month, around the 27th. It's the same this time. However, the exam will take longer. There will be a total of 2.5 days of exams on 27.28.29. Most of the students in the class have good academic ability, but they can only be good, and there are a few students who are lagging behind. But that's okay. Let's all have a study meeting. Ichino said. No one has an opinion on this point. Rather, students in Class B are more obedient, but they actually feel a lot of pressure from the opportunistic exam. And they still like this kind of thing where there are no shortcuts and can only rely on hard work. Therefore, students in Class B feel that the second semester is full of opportunities. It would be great if the special exams this semester were all about testing your true abilities. Then here is Class C, first grade. After a summer break, I hope to see your growth. After announcing the exam content, Teacher Chibashira ended the class meeting with these words, leaving most of the class to them. This left the students confused. I always feel that Chibashira-sensei has become even colder than before, someone said. Yes. Because Chibashira-sensei has no interest in Class C anymore. She is now just acting as an ordinary teacher. But this is just what a few people think. And what more people think is what? In other words, is this exam a real written exam? Is there no other shortcut we can take? However, there is no money to take shortcuts. Today is the first. But the number of points the school entered was 52,000. But every cent must be transferred to Hirata-kun, and then Hirata-kun will transfer it to Takahiraji and Horikita-san. This is the Kojima examination, the share of Horikita-san and Takahiraji-san in the entrance written examination. No one can say anything about this. And the class still lost the bet agreement with Oreki-san from Class A. So I have no face to say anything. In fact, since last month, some people have run out of points, and then started borrowing money from classmates who still have points left. At the same time, some students seem to be acting as spies for other classes. When friends who are good friends find out about this, they ask for an equal share or help with referrals. So the atmosphere in Class C became even worse. And the price other classes need to pay to arrange for them to become spies is starting to roll up. From 50,000 a month at the beginning, it has become 30,000, or even 20,000. At the same time, there were 40 students, and initially only a few students were contacted by students from other classes. But now more than a dozen of the 40 students have had contact with students from other classes. In other words, the current Class C is still a sieve class. However, there are still people who want to save the class. That's Kushida-san, oh no, it's Hirata-san. Hirata-san, a gentleman with light green hair, stood up. Teacher. Is the reward for the class evaluation score of this exam only 100 points? The existing class evaluation scores are those of Horikita-san and Takahiraji-san. He also knew this. But if you can get points, then everyone's living expenses will be covered. Only. The highest reward is a class evaluation score of 100 points, Teacher Chibashira said. And what I suggest you focus on right now is making sure you fail. Because, Chibashira said, the content of the exam adopted this time is based on the newly issued teaching materials to you. This is the new version. In fact, saying this already tells Mr. Hirata that there are no shortcuts in this exam. So I can only study honestly. Jiyuan Temple. Can we hold another study session? Chi Kwanji, who was sitting in the middle seat, had left his seat and came to Jiyuan Temple. Jiyuanji held study sessions at the end of last semester and during the summer vacation. Then some students participated. But most of the bad students refused. But now, if you can't take shortcuts, then you have to make sure that you don't fail the exam and get kicked out of school. So the seats at Kojinji suddenly became lively. Oh. I have advised you to study a long time ago. It's better to say that I have already given you a chance. I'm a person who doesn't like to look back on the past. Gao Yuanji took out a small mirror and looked at his appearance. As a genius, he is very tolerant in being willing to teach mortals. But if the person who rejected him at the beginning teaches him again, then it is not a question of whether his professor is valuable or not, but that his existence has become very worthless. Then I can only ask Hirata-kun. However, after discovering that Jiyuan Temple refused, Chi Kwanji and the others swarmed towards Hirata. Jiyuan Temple. Jiyuan Temple. Take a look. That's why he doesn't want to be taught by anyone. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 324. Ayanokaji. Sitting next to the window with a low sense of presence, Ayanokaji Kiyotaka thought. His presence in the class is not high, but he is always observing other students. And like this side of Jiyuan Temple, Ayanokaji felt that Kojinji already had an idea. Probably the class evaluation score belongs to him, and he will also want to protect the class evaluation score. This time, the class evaluation points will not be deducted from the exam, but there are only options for those who fail the exam to drop out of school, or to add class evaluation points. So it can't hurt him. But Ayanokaji felt that Kojinji already had an idea. It has been determined that the students in the class are the kind of students who can't even teach, and then they are very good at deducting points. So, if this is the case, then how about discarding some students? Not only can it act as a deterrent, but it can even throw away some of the things that are holding you back. And this value is worth thinking about. Ayanokaji Kiyotaka thought as he sat in his seat. While thinking this, he looked in one direction. When he got the new textbook, the girl with long black hair seemed to pause. This is true. Ayanokaji spent the whole summer vacation in the library, so she also knew that Horikita Suzun was borrowing books, mostly textbooks for the next semester. And now the school is using new textbooks that are not available in the library. So her studying in advance during the summer vacation is useless? No. Useful. Although the textbook version has changed, most of the content remains unchanged. So just consolidate it? Rather. Sure enough, for students who study hard, this kind of fair examination can make them feel at ease. So are many people really at ease? Yes. Students who participated in the study sessions at Kojinji felt reassured. Because their academic abilities have greatly improved compared to before. Even if you are facing a new exam, you will not feel scared. The mobile phone placed by Yuanji on the table received a lot of messages. He just looked at it and put it down. He knew that these were letters of thanks sent by students who attended the class. But there are also people who are thinking about things completely unrelated to the exam. Kikyo-chan, I always feel that you are not in a good mood. Is it because we want to organize a study meeting for everyone? In the girls' room, Kushida's best friend Wangmayu chatted curiously. As her best friend, she discovered that Kushida-san had been in a bad mood recently. Especially some time ago, and the day before yesterday. No, Kushida shook his head quickly. I just thought of something I didn't like. As the little angel in the class, Hirata will definitely have to hold a study meeting, and the girls will probably have to contribute as well. Although some girls participated in the study meeting at Jiyuan Temple, they may not need to participate. But there are still some things you need to participate in. And at this time, I will bring Horikita-san with me, Kushida said. Let's form a study group together. I don't want any classmates to be left behind. I really hope that I can spend my high school life at school with you all. Ah, Kikyo-chan, you really value friendship. Some of the girls who had come to wish Kushida to hold a study session were moved. Kushida was not in a good mood. Because this is the time to give Horikita Suzun points, which is really disgusting. And she did think of things she didn't like. She glanced back at Sato-san who was chatting with Kuruzawa. Sato and Kuruzawa both participated in the study meeting at Kojinji Temple, so there should be no need to participate in this newly organized study meeting. But Sato-san, I didn't expect you to be a carnivore. On the fourth day of Sato-san and Oreki-san's date, the second time twice a week, Kushida-san lost his first kiss. This is very presumptuous. But she knew it. It is possible that she tried her best to plan a safe date between Oreki-san and Sato, but in the end, Sato-san still kissed Oreki Houtarou. Oreki Houtarou was probably at a loss and came to see her. Now, every week I spend time with Oreki-san also includes kissing. This made Kushida very uncomfortable. Because isn't it like being in love with the other person? But in order to cope with the new students coming next semester, she really needs Oreki's power, so she really can't refuse. So it was a really annoying experience for her to do something like this even though they were not a couple. Because in this case, doesn't it mean that you are already being the lover of the other person? This is a very bad reputation. And here in Class D, first grade. Although everyone's grades were terrible. I have improved after a summer of studying. But Canada-san wearing glasses stood at the podium. He didn't participate in the battle on the rooftop, so he didn't have such a shocking feeling. Instead, he felt, if Long Yuan fell, even if he couldn't persuade him to come back, then the class can only help itself. Although Ryuan handed over the authority to Shiina-san. It's just that Shiina-san is not good at doing this kind of work at the front desk, so now he does it for him. The head teacher stood aside with a few figures on the board. He pushed up his glasses slightly, but there was not much sparkle in his eyes. The class card is still Class D, first grade. After the pairing exam, he and Tomo Hashinomiya from Class B were both called to the office by the chairman and praised them. That's for sure. Because even if the students in the paired exam know each other's test questions, it is a strong cohesion and effort to achieve 100 points for everyone. It's enough to move people. Therefore, both classes made an exception and added 50 points of class evaluation points. The class also jumped back to the position of Class C with a gap of 10 points. However, the salary as a head teacher has not been increased. The board digital knew that Ryuan and the others had points deducted for destroying the camera during the summer vacation, so the class returned to Class D. At the same time, the process is quite serious. Because Ryuan and the others were injured, at the same time, Ryuan had resigned from his position as class representative. He approached Long Yuan privately, but Long Yuan still gave up. Therefore, if he does not move up in class, when will his debt be paid off? So he hates women. If he hadn't met a woman, he wouldn't have been defrauded of paying off the loan. The digital teacher on the board immediately became distracted. Canada continued to speak. Probably this time I can't find a shortcut, so I can only continue to study, continue to hold study meetings, and insist on making up classes from 19 to 21 o'clock every day. But, considering the strength of our class, we will spend money to invite Gao Yuanji from Class C to come over, Canada added. Then the price is this exam. If he can guarantee that we will not fail and get the class evaluation score, then he will give the other party 50 points. This point is a different view from the previous leadership of Long Yuan. It's a deal. Ibuki went to Kojinji's study group, and on the 6th day of class, she realized the feeling of enlightenment that Kojinji said. Then learning becomes much easier. She didn't think she would fail after studying. However, now Shiina has directly begun to make interest transactions with Yuanji. Ibuki glanced in the direction of Ryuan. Although Long Yuan was sitting in the class, no one paid attention to him. And Long Yuan also read the book indifferently. There seems to be indifference to such decisions. So far, the tyrant of Class D has withered. Lunch break time. Oreki-san and Sakayanagi Yuzo had lunch together. However, he did not return to class immediately to rest. Instead, he made an appointment with Horikita-san and Kushida-san. Prepare to exchange opinions on this exam. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 325. Certainly. Before this. Shake your hand. After seeing Kushida and Horikita Suzun coming, he extended his hand to Horikita-san. Ringtone. After looking at him, Suzun didn't say anything, but raised her right hand to hold it with him. It lasted about 10 seconds before Oreki let her go. Kushida. Kushida came too. As a result, I saw this picture. But throughout the whole process, Kushida-san maintained the smile of a little angel. In fact, I feel very unhappy. Because the relationship between Oreki and Horikita Suzun is still so good, and this also shows that Oreki is really doing what he said. He can't imagine the process of falling in love with Horikita, but he will want to marry Horikita. But Oreki Houtarou, don't you think you are going too far? You and Horikita Suzun just shook hands. As a result, he kept getting love experience points from her and even made excessive demands. Day. So, did she really become Horikita Suzun's substitute? Is she passively fulfilling her lover's demands on behalf of Horikita Suzun? This is a special exam, Oreki-san said. There's nothing to make money on. Profound. Horikita Suzun came here for this special exam, but found out that there was no money to be made. So stay calm. So, why did Oreki-san ask us out this time? Kushida-san showed a cute expression. This time Oreki-san said. I hope you can keep up your appearance. It's just a study session or something. Then increase your popularity. Especially Horikita-san, I got the class points you collected while eating. However, the current Class C students have no money, and it is easy for these people to hold grudges, so it is better to take precautions and improve instant popularity. Oh. That's it? So isn't it just to gain popularity for Horikita Suzun? Kushida was not happy. P.S. Rua. Today's update has arrived. Chapter 127 requesting from the senior class, Neunya, don't come. Oreki-san suggested that Kushida help Horikita participate in study sessions to increase his popularity. This point has its own considerations. Horikita's class was promoted from Class D, and some students in Class D have become money spies because they have no points. So their class probably became a sieve or something. And this kind of behavior also shows that it is easy to be manipulated by outsiders. It can be controlled by Class A or other classes. Especially in Class B, some people started to react, starting from angels to fallen angels, which also shows that they need to pay attention. It makes people feel somewhat interested. I want to see which angel is black. During the matching exam, Oreki-san had already asked Mr. Majima, explaining that the punishment for the matching exam was an instruction from the new principal. There is almost no need to doubt that this new principal should be the one arranged by Ayanokaji's father. Then he came here specifically to drop out of school Ayanokaji Kiyotaka. Therefore, as long as Ayanokaji is in the class, the new principal will target this class, and others may be affected. And like Horikita-san, she also sends him private points worth 270 class evaluation points every month. But it's a deal for two. But to others, it was Horikita-san who took 320 points alone. Although she deserves it, if everyone is so poor, won't they be considerate of everyone? That is to say, it's easy to complain. The students in her class are different from those in Class A, Class B or even Long UN class. They only give money when it concerns themselves, and they are willing to pay for their own sake, so they are unwilling to do anything else. In other words, these people are unreliable. The new principal will definitely not give up on dropping out Ayanokaji Kiyotaka, so in the future examination direction, there will be an increase in dropping out. Then Horikita-san can easily be pushed out to block the gun. In other words, this was Oreki-san's reaction because he didn't want Horikita to be harmed by Ayanokaji's side. Increase her popularity. If something happens, sacrifice someone else. What he has at hand is the information of 7 students in Class C, and they all have information evidence of contact with other classes. So they are all people who can be pushed out as sacrifices. Although it is unethical, if you become a spy, you must be prepared to be tricked. And this kind of thing. Kushida-san, do you understand? You are also considered a traitor to the class. Seeing that even though Kushida remained a little angel, he was unhappy in his heart because he wanted to help Horikita become more popular. Oreki-san felt that tonight, for the first time twice a week, she could properly tell him that it used to be such a serious thing to be a traitor in the sports festival. So, at Kushida-san's suggestion, the 2 times a week became 3 times a week. Then, After the head teachers of each class on the first announced the exam rules, and the students also learned that this time the exam can only be done hard and no shortcuts can be taken. Everyone has their own preparations. Students in Class B held a study meeting on the second floor of the library. They originally wanted to go to the fourth floor, but found senior students there. Various books are placed to take up space. Not only that, now even the first grade is occupied by senior students who don't usually study. And this means that not only them, but also the special exams for senior students this month are the same, written exams, and hard exams. There are no shortcuts. So after thinking about it, Ichi-Nose and the others finally chose another milk tea shop with booths besides Nagamo Senpai from 19 to 21 p.m. You can reward yourself with a drink after studying. Students in Class B enjoy it more. But Oreki-san thinks this is probably to relax his mood. In other words, for the students in Class B, this time they also want to go all out to get the highest class evaluation score of 100 points. But the students in Class B are the ones who work harder. When Oreki-san visits the library, he will also see some students in Class B studying by themselves without taking exams. Therefore, those who need to study more intensively now are the areas in which they are good at. This is how Class B prepares for the exam. On the other side of Class C, Kushida followed Oreki's instructions and dragged Horikita-san to the study meeting. They are responsible for the girls' category. But can't stand it. The second day of the study session. Horikita Suzun not only doesn't understand people's hearts, she can't even speak properly. What are you talking about? Why did you fail? You can't even do a linear equation in two variables? I can't teach you. After all, just listen carefully in class, then you don't have to worry. What do you do during class? That's what Kushida-san complained about. Even though she said that, everyone knew that Horikita-san had good grades. Especially in the written examination after admission, Horikita-san had very good grades, but in order to lower the average score, she pulled students with lower scores, and then scored 51 points in each subject. So this brought a wave of popularity. It's just that this happened a long time ago. The students in the class are also people who never look back on the past. If you keep holding on to your past contributions, they won't be grateful. So Horikita's popularity is declining. Then just slow down, Oreki-san said. Horikita-san, don't force her. If she is really targeted because of her popularity, then I will choose a spy who defected to class A as a sacrifice to drop out of school. Kushida. Horikita is now taking money from the class. Once everyone's points are in the account, they will transfer the money. Although it is not everyone's share. That was originally promised to Horikita-san and Takahiraji-san. But sure enough, it feels like I have to pay the money into my own account and then have to transfer the money to the other party. As for Juyuanji, 2 consecutive study sessions were held in the class, and some students in the class were quite grateful to him. But Horikita-san is a little worse. That's why Oreki suggested that Horikita participate in the study session. But isn't it completely impossible to do it now? And she also needs to help smooth things over and adjust the atmosphere. And Oreki said this, which shows that he initially wanted Horikita to increase her popularity and then prevent her from being targeted. But now, it doesn't matter that Horikita is being targeted. He will sacrifice spies here. Then, if I am targeted for expulsion from school, Kushida-san seemed to ask hesitantly. Will you be targeted? Oreki-san asked. I hate it, it's Class D. If the sports festival comes out, I'll be attacked too. The first half of the sentence is still in Kushida's state, but the second half of the sentence has completely transformed into a blackened state. Rather, I will definitely be targeted. Because even if I am a little angel that everyone loves, as long as it concerns whether they will be dropped out of school, they will definitely choose to drop me out, Kushida said. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 326. It seems that you know the students in your class very well. Moreover, Kushida-san paused. If I really have to drop out of school, it will be either me or Kuruzawa. Why? Because we are still lending money to students in the class, Kushida said. Profound. That's it? The idea is to drop the creditor from school and then not have to pay back the money. Oreki-san found this suggestion somewhat novel. Because what he was thinking about was that if the senior sister who supported him made excessive suggestions, then it wouldn't be right to spend 20 million to send him to graduate with a graduating third-year student, or to directly spend money to ask the chairman to arrange a job for him outside the school. Is it okay? The benevolence and righteousness are gone. However, this still requires money. So he must also set goals for the new semester. Earn a small goal. Beep. At this time, Oreki-san heard a special notification sound. And this beep. He was very familiar with it. Congratulations to the host for triggering the side mission, earning 100 million in 300 days. Task time limit, 300 days. Task requirement, in 300 days, extract 50 million from senior students and 50 million from freshmen. Task reward, soul out of body. Mission punishment, Kushida will be rubbed by Ichika Amasawa. Well, did you go on a mission just after you thought about it? Oreki-san clicked on the mission's reward. Soul out of body, the function is to make one's own or other people's souls escape from the body. If they do not enter a body within 1 minute after leaving the body, there will be a risk of being erased. However, the host himself uses it and does not need to enter other people's bodies. This ability looks good. If the soul leaves the body, it can fly. This seems like a novel experience. And it can also make other people's souls escape from their bodies, so if the soul of Kushida-san, who hates Horikita, escapes from his body, and the two exchange bodies, will their relationship become better? Okay. Oreki-san accepted this mission. But mission punishment, Kushida will be rubbed by Ichika Amasawa. Oreki-san clicked this punishment away. When Kushida is in his second year, he will meet the little demon schoolgirl, who will beat him in every aspect, and gain a dark history. Oreki. Kushida. Oreki-san looked at Kushida-san. Do you know Ichika Amasawa? Ichika Amasawa? No one I've ever interacted with has that name. Profound. Then you should pay attention to yourself, Oreki-san said. Ichika Amasawa knows about your dark history. She will enroll as a new student. What the hell? I was just here today to complain about Horikita Suzune, but instead she got information that made her doubt her life. Will there really be annoying new students entering the school? This left Kushida-san without a smile on his face for several days. In this way, while everyone can only study honestly, time is passing. But there are two things to be aware of. One of them is, you've heard about it too, Oreki-san, right? The girl with straight silver hair sitting next to Oreki-san spoke to him. Class D hired a foreign aide. Class D hired foreign aide. Gao Yuanji did not hold a study session in the class this time. According to him, he had already obtained what he wanted to learn and was tolerant of the opportunity. If he didn't catch it, then it's not his fault. But he turned around and headed directly to Class D. Classes lasted for 14 days. And now we have reached the 9th day of teaching. Several students in Class D have begun to enlighten, and those who have not yet been able to cope with this exam. After all, the exam content this time is only 1 month of class content. It's still relatively easy to deal with. and the standby time is also very high. In this exam of Class D, if someone fails the exam, a one-time payment of 1,000,000 points will be given to JUNG as a reward. And if they all pass and get the class evaluation score, JUNG can get 50 points worth of class evaluation score from their class until graduation. Generally speaking, he invited JUNG to come over to improve the learning of the poor students in his class. And then also for the next time I need to take the hard exam again, and then it won't be that bad. Your puppy is really convenient, Itaiji Yuzu said. Because Oreki-san gave her a lot more information than she knew. Especially the price of the deal with Class D and Kojinji was something she didn't know. That's why it was said that Oreki-san also had a puppy in Class D. This is actually because Ryuan closed himself off, delegated power, and ignored things, so naturally he didn't deal with Manabe and the others. As for Hiri, they didn't think it was necessary to block this kind of information, so they just let it go. Therefore, Manabe-san and the others reported to him what was going on in the class this time. After all, Hiri-san probably just wants to make money now. Oreki-san thought. And the other thing is, I always feel very at ease by Sakura-eri. Sakura-san is no longer worried about this kind of hard test. Oreki-san feels that Sakura-san is a very hard-working person. So achieving such results is the result of her own efforts. And here's the other good news. I seem to have realized it, by Kuruzawa. Kuruzawa-san finally sent a message to Oreki-san one night. She was one of the first people to participate in the study meeting at Juyun Temple, but she never became enlightened. Therefore, I have been accumulating knowledge according to the guidance of Juyunji, waiting for the day when enlightenment finally appears. And once you understand it, learning will become very enjoyable. In fact, Oreki-san has seen this state before. It's my sister. My sister is very efficient, but it was not like this at the beginning, but her grades were just mediocre at the beginning, and she was not very outstanding in the class. However, after a summer vacation, while doing homework, she suddenly realized it. Then directly become the leader of the class. Then he was pressured by his sister to read a lot of books, and finally accumulated a lot of knowledge, and then reached this state. So, I have some understanding of Juyun Temple. The teaching at Juyunji is the kind that wants people to rely on themselves after getting started. Congratulations, then Oreki-san replied to the other party by typing, studying will become easier now. Can we meet tonight, by Kuruzawa? But the message from Kuruzawa was sent quickly. For it. That's it? Oreki-san did not respond immediately. However, Kuruzawa sent another message. Although I am enlightened, I want to study. I hope you can teach me, by Kuruzawa. Oreki. Fine. Oreki felt that Kuruzawa's request could still be met. Then, after a study meeting between the two of them, he came to the conclusion. Hot girls don't seem to like studying very much. And after this, it was probably the afternoon of the 16th when school was over. Oreki-san was asked out by Kushida, to be precise, by Hirata Yasuke and Hirata-kun from Class C. The two sides met in a coffee shop. Hirata-kun is a boy with light green hair and delicate features, and is known as Hirata. He was also one of the people who was willing to maintain the relationship with classmates and then spend money to listen to the information when Oreki-san went to their class to sell information on the first day of school. Belongs to a relatively self-disciplined and rational person. According to Kushida's observation, the information given is that Hirata probably has something in his heart, and the current behavior of Mr. Nice Guy is to make up for the thing in his heart. Like a morbid remedy. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 327. In fact, this can be discovered during the sports festival. Hirata joined the football club after entering school, but in order to buffer against the conflicts between classmates, he quit the football club to maintain the class. In other words, He puts class matters first. So the current move is. If it's borrowing points, Oreki-san paused. Probably not. Is that so? Hirata-san's expression was visibly disappointed. However, Oreki-san just said that casually, and as a result, Hirata actually came over with the idea of borrowing money. This may be because they feel that the students in the class are out of points, and they hope to get some points first for relief. Of course, it is also possible to find that students in the class have clearly failed to count, but still have money to eat. Instead of borrowing money, then it may be that people from outside the class provide relief. And the relief from foreign workers is not relief, but spies. So I finally found out that the students in the class have changed. But Oreki-san doesn't think that the presence of a spy in the class will affect Hirata, because Hirata wants to maintain relationships with the students in the class, so he will turn a blind eye even if he is a spy for the sake of food. That is to say, compared to his classmates, Hirata felt that things like getting promoted were completely unimportant. It seems that Kushida's class really produced a lot of talents. No wonder Chibashira-sensei wanted Horikita to lead the class at first. Because there are indeed many problem students in this class. And through Kurosawa's channels, Oreki-san also knew that, in addition to the list of problem children given by Kushida, there was Kayaki Matsushita, who usually played well with them. Megami's reply was that Matsushita-kun might be hiding his strength. Whether it is academic ability or athletic ability, he may be very strong. This is something that only she who is also pretending can observe. Because to maintain an image, many performances must correspond to it, so only the details of Panasonic-san can be discovered. From this perspective, Horikita's class is indeed surprising. But if we can't eliminate so many students who are lagging behind, then there is no hope for this class to move up. And now Hirata comes to him, it is definitely not just to borrow money. Actually, Hirata-kun said, "Please teach us how to pass this exam." "I see. Came for this." Oreki-san, on the other hand, looked at the seat next to him, asked the person out, and then kept looking like a little angel, Kushida-san. It seems that Hirata did not reveal this purpose to Kushida in advance. But she was willing to help Hirata, so she probably got the secret of Hirata's heart. Oreki-san doesn't quite understand Kushida-san. She has always maintained the image of a little angel, and then uses her affinity to quickly distance herself from others, and then quickly becomes someone they trust, and then obtains the inner secrets of others. And is it fun to do this kind of thing? Oreki-san found it very troublesome. Because if you want to gain the trust of others, it means at least gaining the level of true friends. And real friends are probably the relationship between Futaburo and the male protagonist in the light novels I have read. But as a true friend, Futaba would also find it very annoying because the male protagonist would come to her for all his troubles. Eventually split into two people. Futaba and Matada leaves. Therefore, to become a true friend, you need to consume a lot of your heart, and then you will also bear the pressure on your heart. Then there was Kushida kicking the railing. Oreki-san doesn't think this kind of thing is funny, it's more like a morbid state. But now it's time to deal with Hirata. The place they are currently in is Nagayuna's cafe. And Hirata was begging him. In other words, your class's study meeting is not going very smoothly, Oreki-san said. Yeah, Hirata nodded. It's not easy for everyone in the class to coordinate. Although there were about a dozen students who did not need to attend the study meeting, I asked them for one-on-one guidance but they refused. Then there are some grades that are really bad, and I feel like I can't learn without anyone's dedicated help. Oh. That's it? Do you still want to have one-on-one guidance? But learning is your own business, so why do you need one-on-one help? As for Oreki-san, he didn't want to either. And the most important thing is that some people can help, but some people don't need to. The necessary ones have been screened out by Jyuan Temple. Rather, now that we are in this situation, it is quite acceptable for a poor student to still want to make such a request. But there is actually a plan that everyone wants to pass, Oreki-san said. That's the reward for giving up this exam. This dash. Hirata-kun seemed a little hesitant. The school reward for this exam is the highest class evaluation score of 100 points. Although the students in Hirata's class have evaluation scores, they are not theirs. So everyone can get 0 from the school. Then you need to pay special attention to this special exam. But if you give up this exam reward, your living expenses next month will still be 0. This is a confusing thing. So, if we give up the reward, can everyone pass it? But Hirata-kun is Hirata-kun who considers everyone. His bottom line is that his classmates will not be lacking. So in this case, we have a plan, Oreki-san said. You also know how the students in your class are doing. There is basically no hope of being promoted to Class A. So, the school will turn a blind eye to you. Then you can adopt a more unique solution. Oreki-san said. And he noticed that the little angel Kushida next door looked over. Then the owner of the cafe, who was sitting in the corner and listening to the conversation, also looked over. Then Oreki-san said. You still remember the rules for this exam. Everyone's class average score is above 80, and you can get a class evaluation score reward of up to 100 points. If your class average score is 60 plus or above, you can get a 50-point class evaluation score reward. If you fail the exam, you will be expelled from school. At the same time, no class evaluation points will be awarded. These are situations where all the students in the class are required to pass and then achieve a certain average score. But the average score is the average score of each class, not all classes. In other words, Oreki-san paused. You also know the algorithm for the class average and passing grades, right? The scores of everyone in the class are divided by the number of people. This is the average score. And the passing mark is the average divided by 2. In other words, this score can be adjusted. If everyone gets a score of 5 or 10, then everyone is guaranteed to pass. And what's even more outrageous is that all members scored 0 points. Then the average score and passing mark are both 0 points. However, this is somewhat risky. After all, if you score 0 points, you can count everything as passing, or you can count it as failing. It feels like challenging the school's bottom line. So it's best not to use it. It's better to try to take the test and get 5 or 10 points, which everyone can get, Oreki-san said. Is this still possible? Hirata's eyes widened, a little surprised by this plan. Then I have to think about it carefully. Indeed. You have to think about it carefully. But it would be difficult to implement it. Because, if it is Class A or Class B or even Longjayuan's class, students can be self-disciplined. But the students in Horikita's class are different. Probably a lot of people are worried about being betrayed. So there will be people who don't follow the rules, and once everyone gets low scores, then some people get high scores. Then the passing line will definitely be raised. Those who get low scores will all fail. So overall, this is a plan, but it has no practical value. So it was a plan to silence Hirata. And send Hirata away. What a fantastic idea. A handsome, athletic guy with blonde hair came over. This was Nagamo-senpai, who had been in the store from the beginning. Oreki noticed that Nagamo was listening to his conversation with Hirata and the others. And now, Hirata has left, but Kushida has not left. But Nagamo has given up on pursuing the girls around Oreki-san. So just come and say hello. I think the students in my class can study less hard. Nanyun said. Or I can copy this plan and use it. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 328. After all, other classes may not be able to control points, but my second graders can do it. In other words, half a semester has passed, and Nagayunya is still the de facto controller of the second grade. And now, because they had to take hard exams and had no other plan, their second graders were also studying. Just in the phone call with Asahina some time ago, he also confirmed that, because he lost the position of vice president of the student union, coupled with his strategy during this period, it failed to deter him. So the situation is not very good. It just so happens that this plan for controlling points can be shared. Because most of the students in Class C and Class D are poor students. So this solution can be used. So Nagamo-senpai, do you want the school to hate you even more? Oreki said. The school does not take any chances this time because it hopes that students will study hard and arm themselves with knowledge. Then Nagamo-senpai is going to confront the school in this regard. I'm afraid it will make the school more certain that Nagamo-senpai is a pest, Oreki said. Nanyun felt unhappy for a moment. In fact, I was timid, so after being criticized by Oreki, I didn't go too far to ask for class evaluation scores from the school in several special examinations. The current class evaluation scores of the 4 classes in second grade are as follows. 2,000 points for Grade 2 Class A. Grade 2 Class B 900 points. Grade 2 Class C, 700 points. Grade 2 Class D 500 points. He barely maintained the advantage of his own class, and then slightly reduced the class evaluation scores of some other classes. In line with first grade scores. This can be regarded as his goodwill to the school after taking control of the second grade. And now that he has done this, will he still be regarded as a pest? So he was not in a good mood. And when he was in such a bad mood, he found Oreki-san standing up. Nagayun-senpai, I'm a little curious. How many points have you collected in your personal account now? Junior Oreki asked. Nanyun. Don't be curious. Chapter 128. The victim of the attack of rumors turned out to be Nagayunya is the representative of the second grade and one of the few people in the school who can counter-attack. At the end of the first grade, he led Class B to be promoted to Class A. Got high ratings. Then we raised funds to open a second-year store. So it's quite dazzling. As a grade representative, he has 3 incomes. 1 as a member of the class evaluation score sent by the school every month is equivalent to living expenses. 2 as for the store's income, the milk tea shop is still in debt, but after the debt is paid off, he has exclusive rights to half of the profit. 3 as a grade representative, you will receive contribution money of 400,000 points per class from other classes every month. So, this is a very nourishing life. You can even directly use the amount of these points to finally collect 20 million, and then regardless of whether the final class can maintain Class A, you can still be in Class A when you graduate from the 3rd grade. Graduate. This is a very beautiful thing. However, it was destroyed by Houtarou Oreki. This first-year student was not only liked by the Baichi girls in his class, he was also praised by the Baichi girls, taking away the popularity that should have belonged to him. And Oreki Houtarou is still a terrible person. Super good at making money and scamming money from other people. So, is Oreki the money swindler asking him how many points he has collected? He had seen this scene before. In the usual old examination questions, in order not to reveal the questions, he paid points. And now, is Oreki Houtarou trying to swindle money again? Nanyun was deeply impressed by that incident. Because he almost lost all his points, he licked his face and ate the unpalatable free mountain vegetable set meal for several days. This gave him a painful lesson. And now, have the points been collected again on the account? Yes, collected. More than 3 months have passed since then, so his account now has an unprecedented amount of points accumulated. 11.05 million points. Collecting another 9 million is a life-saving talisman. And as a member of the student union, he has already obtained information. When graduates graduate, the school will exchange the private points accumulated by the students according to a certain ratio. Convert directly to cash. Then, if someone like him has good academic ability, then naturally, even if he takes an ordinary exam, he can enter a good university. But 20 million can be converted into money. Did well in school and graduated with a lot of money. This is also an honor, isn't it? And now, Nagamo-senpai, how many points have you collected? Oreki-senpai asked him. Neun. What the hell? Is Oreki Houtarou trying to ask him for money again? I haven't accumulated many thousands of points, and I don't have 5 million yet, Nanyun said. After all, facing school exams now also requires various expenses. I am a big tree for everyone, but I also need to maintain it. Nagamo decided to be conservative. Everything in this school can be bought with points, but you can't buy it just because you don't have enough points. So, after so many exams, his argument was acceptable. And speaking of the points a little smaller, it also made him feel that it was really helplessly taken away, so he only lost part of it, and another part. So he gave a conservative value, less than 5 million. Only. Really, Junior Oreki looked at him distrustfully. According to your 3 sources of income, it should be just over 10 million. Nagamo-senpai, you are dishonest. Nanyun. Day. So there must be a spy in the 2nd grade. Can you tell the other person such a thing? If he fails, then the 2nd grade will become Oreki Houtarou's ATM machine. So are these people who are spies out of their minds? In short, I won't give the points to you, Nanyun said. Also, you have to pay for the coffee you just drank. Oreki. Clear. But now Nagamo-senpai's 10 million is a bit too little for me. What I want to get now is 50 million. So, your 10 million is not enough. You still need to save some more. Oh. That's it? Is it because he doesn't have enough points and needs to accumulate more? Then his points are safe. Not at all. Because. Is this guy Oreki Houtarou speaking human language? This guy probably wants to fatten him up and harvest him again. Nagamo was originally in a good mood since he hadn't seen Oreki Houtarou during the holiday, but now, he felt that his mood had become bad again. Oreki-san, on the other hand, did not continue talking to Nagamo. After all, currently, Nanyun only has 10 million points that he can spend. Oreki's system tasks to be completed are 50 million for upperclassmen and 50 million for freshmen. Therefore, harvesting Nanyun would not meet the mission requirements. And Nagamo is the representative of the 2nd grade, and he is like a money sucker, growing up by constantly absorbing points from the 2nd graders. It is considered a potential stock. Oreki didn't want to stand on the opposite side of the 2nd grade, so he only harvested Nagamo without encountering resistance. And now is not the best time to take action. This special exam tests hard skills. Therefore, the space for operation is relatively small. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 329. Even Nagamo himself, after Oreki-san's observation, Nagamo also arranged for the students with good academic ability in his own class and 2nd year Class B to support the poor students in 2nd year Class C and 2nd year Class D. It's like they are also holding a book club. So there are no shortcuts, and the operating space will be limited. What needs to be done now is to wait for a special examination that can target senior students and then harvest them. It's time to start harvesting. In this way, if Nanyun is allowed to continue harvesting the second grade, wait until he has collected about 20 million before taking action. In this case, the half goal of 50 million from the senior class can also be achieved quickly. Very efficient. Then, just wait for Nagamo to gain weight and then the appropriate special exam comes. Then, after discovering throughout the grade that there were no shortcuts, I had no choice but to sharpen my head and study hard. Oreki-san, on the other hand, started borrowing books after efficiently reading the content to be assessed in the first week. But the night before the exam, Kurosawa-san, Sato-san, Hospi-san, Horikita-san, and Kushida-san also gave presentations. Hirata came to Oreki to find a plan that everyone could meet, and the plan was announced. But it was quickly boycotted by most of the students in the class. Because everyone can get a score of 5-10. But once someone betrays them, as long as one person gets a high score, everyone else will be sent away. So, it's almost like placing your hopes on others. Even though Hirata repeatedly stated that there would be no betrayers in the class, no one agreed. So it still became a matter of relying on oneself. Everyone still takes the exam on their own. It's just that Hirata himself worked hard. I asked the students with good grades in the class and hoped that they could score 51 points. It was as if she had just realized something and discovered a shortcut to studying. Then Hui, who could only get over 60 points in the exam, was asked to get 51 points in all subjects. The passing line is the average score divided by 2, and even if everyone gets a perfect score, this score is safe. It is guaranteed that you will not be dropped out of school. What's more, it's impossible for the whole class to get 100 points. So, this can be regarded as lowering the average passing score, and then making those poor students less miserable. Hirata did what he could. Then, October 27th. The day has come. There will be exams today, tomorrow, and the morning after tomorrow. Take 2 subjects every day. Then the answering time for each subject is 2 hours. The paper needs to be handed in 30 minutes after it is opened, Teacher Mashima said. Because it is not a paired exam, the teacher who invigilates the exam is still the head teacher of each class. Teacher Mashima was standing at the podium. Just as he read out like this, Oreki-san noticed that the eyes of the classmates around him moved over and then focused on him. For it. Teacher Mashima was talking about handing in papers in advance and everyone looked at him. Indeed. As long as it's not an English listening test, Oreki-san can do it very quickly. Sometimes papers are handed in early. In fact, he could confirm that Yuzusaka Yanagi, who was sitting next to him, also did the questions very quickly. But she won't hand in the paper in advance. She would look in his direction after finishing the paper. Because I won't make any moves after finishing the paper, this behavior would have been considered cheating, but no one said anything. Because she doesn't correct the papers at all, right? And Sakayanagi-san is very cute today, wearing white socks and a sweet smile on his face, which makes him easily swayed. Oreki-kun is in great shape, Yuzusaka Yanagi said. I haven't seen you read the textbook since the 7th. There were still 10 minutes before the exam officially started, so Banliu said to him. If you want to enter a state of flow, I suggest you read the book Flow, Oreki said. Osaka Yanagi Yuzu nodded. Then I'm going to get these books and have a look. The Divine Room. But Kamuro's classmate at the back table of Itanyu felt it was very troublesome. Because this is 10 minutes before the exam starts. Can you guys stop sticking together? Can you please let her be quiet and recall a few formulas? Then, on the 27th, math in the morning and English in the afternoon. On the 28th, physics in the morning and chemistry in the afternoon. 29th, Bio. All 5 subjects are completed. During the lunch break on the 29th, Oreki-san and Horikita-san got together again. Today's schools require only examinations. After the exam, there will be a day off. The exam is finally over. Came to the old place agreed upon. Kushida-san said, "It feels like I have finally let go of a burden." "Are you also required to score 51 points in each subject?" Oreki-san said. Yeah, Kushida nodded. Hirata probably asked 13 students to do this. In other words, there are now 13 people with good academic ability in Class C. So Takahiraji is indeed a person who is good at teaching others. No wonder he became a professional teacher in his precognitive dream. Speaking of which, exams shouldn't be stressful. Rather, the exam is actually a test of the knowledge you have mastered during this period, Horikita Suzun said. Okay. Horikita-san, please stop talking. Although he often travels to Versailles, Oreki-san also feels that Horikita-san's thinking is completely different from ordinary students. But I can't blame her. Because she was indeed studying seriously. In other words, all three of them were safe during this exam. The same is true for each class, because they have various coping methods. For example, Class C also asks people with high scores to lower their scores as much as possible, so they should be able to pass safely. Today is Saturday. Generally speaking, schools do not have classes on weekends, except for special examinations. Saturday afternoon has become a free holiday for students again. According to the past trajectory, Oreki-san should go back to the dormitory directly and then return to his home for the weekend. Only this time Oreki-san didn't leave. Because he was a little curious. I'm a little curious as to which angel from Class B has started to turn dark. Woo. Sorry, have you waited for a long time? However, the one who accepted the appointment was the archangel with long pink hair, Hanami Itchy Nose. Just arrived, Oreki-san said. Itchy Nose, have there been any changes in your classmates? Change? What change? Well, I'm a little embarrassed. Now we can only work hard for a class evaluation score of a few hundred points. Itchy Nose seemed to be embarrassed. And this is what the students in Class B are working hard for. It's definitely incomparable to Class A. But everyone felt very fulfilled. Profound. From the looks of it, Itchy Nose is going all out to take the exam and study. That is to say, it seems that Itchy Nose is still an archangel. In other words, the student who paid to contact Class D and then also paid to contact Class C was not Itchy Nose Hanami, but someone else in her class. So, although none of the angels turned black, Itchy Nose was still white, which made people feel very comfortable. This is a kind of ambivalence. I hope she will change, but I am worried that she will become bad. After all, there are two angels in this school. Kushida is already dark, and Itchy Nose is the only real angel left. Only. Speaking of which, Itchy Nose-san often meets Sakayanagi-san during the holidays, Oreki-san said. Et. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 330. That's right. Did I come into contact with Sakayanagi-san too much and disturb the relationship between Oreki-san and Sakayanagi-san? Itchy Nose seemed to be starting to reflect on himself. Oreki. No, nothing. Why do you say that? Oreki doesn't think that he and Sakayanagi-yuzu have become friends, and then he won't be jealous because his friend has a better relationship with someone else, so Itchy Nose doesn't need to worry about it. I think you need to pay special attention, Oreki-san said. Huh, Itchy Nose flicked her slender eyelashes in confusion. Good-looking girls are cute no matter what expression they have, and she is looking at him curiously now. Oreki-san. What should he say? Tell her that Sakayanagi-san may have been preparing to target her when he came into contact with her. So Itchy Nose, are you paying attention to safety or something? Especially since it's a new semester, so you're probably going to be attacked. But this is on Ichino's side. And Oreki-san knows very well that it is good for Sakayanagi-san to have a good impression of him, so is he going to stop Sakayanagi's plan and side with Ichino's? Apparently not too good either. Because he didn't try to ruin his family's plans from an outsider's perspective. So do you want to support Sakayanagi-san? But he didn't want to hurt Ichino's. In other words, should I choose Ichino's or Sakayanagi Arisu now? Ichino's is an angel. Mr. Sakayanagi is his date in the 2nd grade, and she is also the future mother of one of his children. And he doesn't hate that Sakayanagi-san thinks she's super cute. Oreki-san found it difficult to make a decision. As a result, a new problem emerged. That is, on the 31st, I went back to school and had lunch break. Oreki-san received Kushida's message. Although I don't want to report it, but your Horikita Suzun was attacked by Kushida. Oreki-san. So why was she the one being attacked? Oreki-kun is very busy every day. During the lunch break, Oreki returned to class after having lunch in the cafeteria, but Sakayanagi-san noticed that he was about to leave after reading the message. Oreki. There's a little something to take care of. Profound. Sakayanagi-san then read quietly. On her desk is a book called Flow that Oreki mentioned before. Although she is a genius and learns many things quickly, she is also curious about Oreki-san's reading method. So I want to learn it. Certainly. Read a book together. This can increase your understanding of the other party and increase the number of common topics with the other party. So she returned her attention to the book. Oreki, on the other hand, went downstairs to first year class C. Kushida sent a message and reported some information. The classmates in the class were not in a good state after lunch break. It seems that while eating, I got information from other classes and was told some rumors about Horikita Suzun. Then he was asking Horikita-san. As for this other class, it was not convenient for her to disclose it. But for now, the incredible rumors are still limited to Class C due to the length of time. But if it is not dealt with, it will probably spread throughout the school soon. Kushida is good at obtaining other people's secrets, so he naturally knows that, once rumors are born, they can have a strong effect. And with Horikita-san's personality, she probably wouldn't care about this kind of thing. She doesn't pay much attention to other people and is not interested in other people's gossip, so she is very resistant. According to her, it's probably to listen to other people's evaluations of me. I'm not interested. Because if I really cared about other people's gossip, I would have been beaten since elementary school. So she has strong resistance. After all, he was alone, aloof and awe-inspiring. But, by the way, is Suzun Horikita really the sister of the student council president, by Kushida? Kushida asked. In other words, the rumors this time are of this kind. Oreki-san immediately confirmed that Horikita-san had no power to resist. Because the first time he met Horikita's sister alone, it was the sister who was asked by Horikita's brother to drop out of school. Although he was eventually retained. But he still understands some of Horikita's sister's thoughts. Sister Horikita does not want to embarrass her brother Horikita Manabu, who is the student council president, because of her identity. That's why I followed him to fly, hoping to collect 20 million points of feat that even my brother had not accomplished, and then prove my strength. At the same time, this also shows that she absolutely rejects other people knowing that she and Horikita Manabu are brother and sister. Because she is not strong enough. It's not that I hate Horikita Manabu, but I have low self-esteem and feel that I will hinder Horikita Manabu and become a weapon for the enemy to attack Horikita Manabu. Not just being unhelpful and then becoming a burden or something. She was quite disgusted with this kind of thing. And now, The sibling relationship between her and her brother Horikita Manabu has been publicized in the class. To her, this must have caused trouble for her brother. Then, it's impossible to ignore it. So basically it was sent. With this thought in mind, Oreki-san has arrived at the door of first year class C. I spotted Horikita Suzun at a glance. Actually no. Because although she was in the class, her position was surrounded by other students. So she couldn't be seen among the crowd. The students around seemed to be curious and asked her questions. Horikita-san, you have received a lot from your brother who is the student council president, so it doesn't matter if you give us a little benefit. Yamauchi-san chirped. And this rhetoric shows that they have exposed the information to the class that Horikita Suzun is the sister of the outstanding student council president. So even though she hasn't seen Horikita-san yet, Oreki-san already feels that she looks pale now. After all, in this exam, I can get information from my brother, Yamauchi said. Yamauchi's biggest impression on the class was his R ranking at the beginning of school, which caused the overall evaluation of the boys in the class to drop. At the same time, he initially said that Sakura liked him, but everyone knew that was a lie. After all, Sakura is a super beauty. As long as there is no problem with her eyes, she will not fall in love with Yamauchi. And he is quite an irresponsible person. What did you say I got? Horikita Suzun seemed puzzled. It's just the test papers. Since I have an older brother who is the student council president, I must know about the test papers and stuff. Why don't you help us? You know how we have been studying for the past month. And a girl talked to him. As for this girl, Oreki knew that she was the classmate Yoshiko Utada who was seduced by Ryuan. But it's not just her, there are several average-looking girls around her. In other words, the people who will participate in this kind of questioning are ordinary students who have a relatively low sense of presence in the class. People with a little bit of brains would not immediately ask so many people in person for the news. Of course, it is also possible that most of the students in the current class have not returned. There are now less than 20 students in Class C. The others were probably still eating. I didn't see Megami or the other hot girls either. The gentle Hirata-kun and Kogendera were not there either. And Horikita Suzun found it incredible. Ha! Papers and stuff, how can such a thing be possible? But her words were interrupted. Yeah, it's so convenient to have an elder brother who is the president. By the way, your brother must have given you so many points. I'm so envious, someone said to me. I don't have any money this month. Horikita-san, please borrow some. This is very Class C.